We are following breaking news at 3 o'clock on a devastating attack overseas. We are just learning all 3 service members who were killed in an ambush attack in Jordan are from Georgia. Specialist Kennedy Landon Sanders from Waycross, Georgia, died in Sunday's attack, as well as Sergeant William Rivers from Carrollton and Specialist Brianna Moffitt from Savannah. Nearly 3 dozen other soldiers were hurt. President Biden is blaming an Iran-backed militia group for what happened. Initial reports show the enemy drone was approaching at the same time an American one was returning, meaning air defenses were temporarily disabled. Soldiers were in their quarters sleeping when they were attacked. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle condemning the attacks, and there are calls right now from some Republicans for the U.S. to directly hit Iran.
We are not interested in a broader conflict in the region. We're not looking for another war, but we absolutely will do what we have to do to protect ourselves.
The Biden administration reports since the start of the Israel-Hamas war in October, U.S. military sites in Iraq and Syria have been attacked more than 160 times. We are working to learn more about all 3 soldiers who were killed, again confirming all of those soldiers killed are from Georgia.